Welcome back to another video, everyone. Today, we're going to be ranking the secret rares out of the Attack on Titan Battle for Humanity set. Um, it's going to be based on my four criteria. Uh, Staple doesn't necessarily mean like symbol or character staple. It's just like if you're gonna play, I guess if you're gonna play this card in, I say whatever. It's a staple no matter what. You're probably gonna play this in almost every character uh, in, on symbol because the card's so good. Playable is you'll probably see it as like a 2-3x in some decks. Sideboard tier, you'll bring it in for sideboard stuff, and then binder tier or coaster if you want to get Tim Keefe on you, and you're probably never leaving the binder to be honest. We'll kind of go through the cards a little bit, and then from there we'll take a quick break, and then I have about 4 or 5 other content creators slash players in their tier lists. We're going to compare. It's going to be kind of hard. I'm going to do my tier list, and then we'll pull up their tier lists. I'll go one by, and then we'll try to kind of compare. So it's going to be kind of difficult. I can't put their tier list on. Yeah, we'll probably just dive into. We'll pull them up. Most of them came in email form and non-visual form, so it was more text than anything. So we'll go ahead and get into the first one. Beast Titan. He's a 5-hander with 33 health. He does build his first attack, or an attack, I believe, right? Let's see. Yeah, after your first attack, you get to build. After your first attack resolves, you get to build it face down. If it has shift, you build it transformed instead, which is kind of cool. So you clear your card pool. Oh, excuse me. And then response, after a Titan backup enters or leaves your stage, draw a card. So that means like after your first attack, and if it's a Titan attack that transforms, you get to draw a card. So really, you're a 633, but only if you play Titan, a shifter card. But also, conversely, if you build in backups, you get to draw cards, and after they die, you get to draw more cards. I don't see this guy making a splash in standard. I mean, like playing backups in standard is just a death sentence. Just by the way, unless they change their rulings, no one's playing backups in standard. So we're gonna try to keep it to a standard build instead of like spotlight, because that could be totally different. So, and standard heat is definitely binder tier. Next is High Speed Dive. 6 difficulty, 3 check, 4 mid, 7. Weapon Blitz. This is error tuned, I should say. Weapon Blitz. If this is your only attack in your card pool, your attacks get 2 speed. Deadlock Blitz. Add 1 attack with difficulty of 2 from your discard pile to your hand. It's playable in those Air has this weird I guess like you play this first, then clear it. But then there are some air cards that want you to have multiple copies of multiple attacks in the card pool. It's kind of split on its identity, even though they're trying to pin the identity down. But High Speed Dive definitely sits at a playable if you're playing like a Mikasa or a Levi or like something that you're able to play the air package where you're clearing cards from your card pool. Next is Weapon Slash. It's a 4 difficulty, 3 check, 3 high for 5. It has a blitz. Commit up to 3 foundations. This attack and the next attack get 1 speed for each foundation committed this way. If you committed at least 1, draw a card. If you committed 3 foundations this way, your next air attack gets -3 difficulty. Man, it's a mouthful. I don't know, it's playable in some decks. I think it's 7 diff, 6 high for 5, draw a card. It makes your next attack ignore progressive minus if you play this as your first attack, which you're probably not. So you're probably playing this on a 6 or 7 and then committing 3, so it's really a 10 diff. The more I talk about it, the more I don't like it. If it was Like if it's even if you commit one, it's a 5 diff, 4 high for 5. Draw a card that gives 1 speed to the next attack, which is kind of okay. But man, I don't like this card very much at all. I really don't. It's just too costly. Too costly. Next is Fortitude of the Armor Titan. It's a 5 difficulty, 5 check action. It has a static. Remove this card after it leaves your card pool. So that's some future proofing. Enhance, this attack loses all keywords. Your attacks your rival plays this turn gets +1 difficulty. So it's like Perma Breaker 1. Um, Maybe sideboard. I don't think it's binder tier because it's going like taking away keywords pretty good, especially if like you're fighting like a keyword tribal. And plus it's Perma Breaker 1, but again it's on a 5 difficulty action. Um, but I could see this being slotted in as like a sideboard piece for like Chaos, for instance. They don't have a lot of breaker, so like this kind of helps like defensive wise. But then it does have a +0 mid, so it does block pretty well. But you can't do struggling with study shenanigans with it because if you try to pick it up, it just poofs. Um, so we're gonna put this in sideboard tier. Next up is well orchestrated attack. It's probably one of the best SRs. It's actually very good. It's a 5 difficulty 2 check, +2 high block, 5 high for 4. Weapon blitz. Your rival mills 1. If the milled card is an attack, draw 3 cards. Otherwise, draw a card. This attack gets 1 damage for each card in your hand. So at base, this card is a 5 difficulty 2 check. It will either draw you 3 cards or draw you just 1, and if you play this as your first attack as a 6-hander, it's a 5 high for 10 to start on a 2 check. That gets you a card or possibly 3. It's Chaos attuned. Chaos loves weapons. This is, in my opinion, going to be a staple in this for this card. If my computer can actually work. Come on, there you go. It's not being very responsive today. Yeah, it's a staple. Next is Coordinated Strike. It is a 5 difficulty 3 check, +1 high block, 5 mid for 1. Blitz, your rival mills 1. Wait, I've read that wrong. Deadlock stun 4. I'm sorry. It's a 5 different. Yeah, Deadlock stun 4. Weapon. I have to read this off my phone because I don't want to keep switching back and forth. So, mill 3. Your attack gets +1 damage for each weapon milled in your discard pile. So this could actually just be a 5 mid for 1. At best, it's a 5 mid 4. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't know. I just don't think this card's really that good. I think, yeah, it's a binder tier card for me. It just is. Because, like, the payoff is not good enough. Like, yeah, it's a 3 check. It's a +1 mid. Deadlock stun 4. It's whatever. But, man, like if you, like... A 5 mid 2 does not sound great. On a 5 diff. That does not sound great at all. Next is Short Work. The last card was Death Attuned. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at saying the symbols. Short Work's a Death Attuned card. 5 difficulty 2 check, +2 mid. 3 mid for 5. Blitz, if your rival has more foundations than you, this attack gets +X speed. X equals the difference. First form, discard pile. Sacrifice a foundation. Add this card to your hand. So it has to be your first form. So you go down a ready foundation to pick this card up. This card's actually going to be, I think, oh man, my computer is just nuts today. Short Work, I'm putting that in playable. Getting an attack for 1 foundation is actually very, very good. So we'll play that in playable. It's not a staple, but it's definitely playable. Next is the Colossus Steam Barrier. Powerful 2 Titan. As a static, is a 6 difficulty 3 check. This attack's damage cannot be reduced below printed by rival effects. It's a 0 mid for 8. Okay, that's a choice. Response remove. After you block with this card, the blocked attack deals no damage and your rival loses a health. So you can burn them for game if they're at 1, which is kind of cool. The issue is it's a +2 mid, and it kind of sucks. Like, it would be better if it had a +1 mid. The 0 speed really kills it. Like, it doesn't, if it had throw, I could see it being 0 speed. Like, it loses powerful and gains throw. But again, I don't think it would gain throw because it's thematic or whatever. But yeah. This card is Binder Tier. Next up, Intense Heat Blast. It is a 5 difficulty 2 check. Has stun 0. Blitz, this attack gets +1 to its stun rating for every 2 attacks you remove from game pile. Response, remove after this card is discarded during the combat phase, your rival commits a foundation. So that's kind of cool. It's a 5 mid 5, so that's kind of nice. So when you're probably playing like a fire package with this, like removal stuff, like Woman comes to mind. Maybe like you can do some cool fire shenanigans with Sugar Rush power up to get a bunch of attacks in there. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's playable. I think just on the base stats alone and the package that the stun would give, I'm putting it in playable. And now my favorite SR, it's Midst of Despair. Midst of Despair, Life Attuned, 4 difficulty 3 check, +1 high block, 2 high for 6, ranged, blitz. If you have gained health this turn, this attack gets 3 speed. It's pretty sick, so if you've gained health, you can, it is a 5 high for 6, not bad. For 4 diff, that's really good. Next is Response. If this attack deals damage, the next card you try to play ignores progressive difficulty. So this just allows you to make giant change. Like Kurama comes to mind. Ymir obviously comes to mind. There are ways to get this online as your first attack to make your next attack not count. But again, this is like it's a later string card. So like you could play like this as your 3rd card, and then have the next, if it hits, the next one ignores progressive. This is definitely, in my heart, I say staple. Like, I think this card's going to be played in a lot of any character that has like a life attuned, that's life attuned, is going to play at least a few copies. Just because of that. Like, sure, it's a 2. I think you may have to play some life gain, but again, the life gain in the Attack on Titan cards are kind of like crazy. But I'm gonna go with my heart, and I'm putting it as a staple. Like, I think in standard, this card is gonna see a lot of play, just because of, hey, my next card basically is free. Next is the Stomp of the Female Titan. It's a kick Titan. Keyword 7 difficulty 3 check, +1 mid, 3 mid 3. Response: before this attack receives a speed and/or damage bonus from another card's effect, double that bonus. You may play this response up to 3 times during this attack. So the issue is that does the and/or, like, do you have to, like, it says and/or, so they should have just said speed. Like, I guess and/or, because there are cards that give them both, so I guess they're protecting against the unilateral stat pumps. I don't know, like, I don't think this card's very playable, but again, I don't think it's like, I just think it's just not, like, you're gonna have to like dump a lot of things into this to make it worth playing. I think it's a Binder Tier card, guys. Sorry, Annie, it's a Binder Tier card. Next is Pressing the Advantage. 5 difficulty 2 check. Charge EX2. It's a 3 low for 5. Blitz, commit a rival foundation. This attack gets +X damage. X equals the number of your rival's committed foundations. That sounds oddly familiar, doesn't it? The MHA version of this card was a staple. It was order attuned. And Order's whole thing is committing and keeping people's stuff committed with a lot of freeze. Yeah, I think this card's going to be shoved into every card, everything that can play this. Come on, there we go. Yeah, I think this is probably the last staple card, to be honest. Next is Walmaria's Might. It's a 5 difficulty 3 check, plus 2 low, 5 low 5, charge ranged. Add 1 wall counter to a card in your stage, and then draw 1 card for every 2 wall counters on that card. Response: after you block an attack with this card, draw a card. Um, like I don't have like a 2 tier staple, like staple symbol, staple character theme. So this, like the wall counter characters are going to be playing for this. Like they're just going to play it because it will draw them a billion cards, and it's also good on block. So um, let's go ahead and put this into staple. Next is the 13 diff Colossus's Thermal Blast. Yeah, I don't see this ever seeing play. It's bad. So yeah, so that's my tier list of the SRs. So I would assume like the top 4 are going to be heavily wanted. The next ones will probably be like in a, I don't know, like I could see the staple cards being like Battle Aura release prices, Walk the Dog prices. Um, Playable would be um, like your mid-tier SRs and your mid-tier ultra rares, like anywhere between like 10 to 12 bucks. Armor, I could see the Armor Titan card being like $5, and then anything in Binder tier is probably going to be around less than $10, with Beast Titan probably rounding out around $1 or so, just because it's going to be easy to get, and it's a character, it's a 1x. So we'll go ahead and take a break, and then I'll come back and we will go over other people's lists. I'm gonna pull up my email and we're gonna go through them email wise. So we're gonna do a little cool email stream. So give me a second. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. After a short break and a lot of finagling with the Windows with the OBS, yeah, we got it finally rolling. So we got some community members and other, like a couple community members and some content creators have also dipped in with their tier lists. This is from Let's Talk UVS. Let's Talk UVS's main head, David Toombs. He dropped a list earlier today, and he's also going to make a tier list too. So please go watch that. I'll put the link to his channel either in a card or in the description box below. So he also agrees that he went with 3 tiers: strong, good, lacking, or extremely situational, which is probably a lot better than what I did with staple, playable, sideboard, and binder tier. This actually makes more sense than what I did, but whatever. We all do things differently, and it's cool. So yeah, so he has Myths of Despair at the top. No qualms there. Card's like, it's my number 1 target from the set. Like, I want 4 of that card as quick as possible. I'm a Ymir gamer, and for Spotlight and maybe Standard, depending on how things shake out. So I think the character's really cool. She's one of my favorites. So, so in his good tier, we got, like, it's split. Like, he only had 1 strong one, and the rest of them are either good or not very great. So high speed dive, whirling slash, well orchestrated attack, coordinated strike, pressing the advantage, while Maria's might. All will probably end up seeing play in his eyes. In some form or fashion, either as a 4x or as like a niche card in like certain decks. Like I could see well orchestrated being played in a lot of decks that can play that just for card draw alone. Like overall in the set itself, we've seen the entire set as of today. There's not a lot of card draw, right? Like you're gonna have to find it on your attacks and your foundations, and there really isn't a lot. There's not a giant amount, especially in Spotlight. You're gonna be stuck with a lot of the cards you draw sometimes. So like this allows you to just chug your game plan and stuff. Coordinated strike, pressing the advantage, while Mario's might all have spots in his eyes. Coordinated strike, I'm not that high on, like I said, because it can end up being a 5 mid for 1 as a secret rare, which doesn't really, like, it should have at least 4 damage in my opinion, but whatever. lacking extremely situational, so bad, or sideboard tier. Pretty much all in the same. Like short work, he didn't really agree on, which I don't know. I see that card as playable because it's always going to net you an attack, right? It's always going to get you an attack. But yeah, we've kind of agreed. Colossus, Steam Barrier, Female Titan Stomp tier, pour one out for Annie, and Thermal Blast are all just bad. Like they're just not very good. So, I mean, like to be fair, half of them are good. Like in his eyes, half of them are good, half of them are bad. And he didn't even rate Beast Titan, so that probably means he's very bad. So really, it's split. Really, because he has a tier that doesn't exist. It's not, and it's called Beast Titan. Next, we're gonna go to a local player of mine. This is Ben Lambright's tier list. This is his first takes, his hot takes. Memes aside at the bottom, we're gonna start off at the top with the A tier. Well coordinated strike, midst, pressing the advantage, all very good cards. Coordinated strike, which I'm surprised he's high on this because I don't think it's good. Like a 5 mid for like. I mean, let me make sure I'm reading this card right, because I thought it said for each card milled this way, but if it's for every weapon in your... I may be reading this card wrong. Did I read it wrong? Oh, excuse me. It's for every weapon in your discard pile. Wow, that's weird. So yeah, I'm still not that high on it. It's basically Blast Rush Turbo, right? But yeah, I'm going to stick with what I said. Yeah, I don't like it, because sometimes it's just going to be a 5 mid for like 3, and that does not feel good at all. Early game, it does not feel good at all. It's like a late game, so like it's playable, but it's like a situational card at best, in my opinion. Heat Blast is pretty good. Wall Mario might, again, it's going to be wall counter locked, so not really going to see much play outside, the few wall counter characters. Maybe we'll get some more in set 2. Whirling Slash is still the same problem. It's like a 7 diff attack to make it worthwhile. He had still short work, man. Just so weird. Short work's in the bottom tiers. Short work is so good. High speed dive, then he has his Bill Stark tier, which is Beast Titan in the 13 diff, which means these cards are poop. So much on him. Thanks for that, Ben. Next, we're going to UVS Hermit Cameron Undergust list. He gave staple competitive to Whirling Slash, Fortitude of the Armor Titan, Short Work, Stomp, and Pressing the Advantage, which is really interesting because I had Stomp in the bottom. I had Fortitude as a sideboard card. So that's actually not too bad. Whirling Slash is then that weird 7 diff thing, so I'm not sure if that's too much. I don't know if it's gonna see that much play staple wise, but maybe in some fun decks or whatever, maybe in some theme decks. Sideboard, situationally useful. We got high speed dive, well orchestrated attack, coordinated strike, steam barrier, midst. Oh, that hurts my heart, Cameron. And Wall Mario's Might. I agree with Wall Mario's Might. It's situationally useful only in the wall counter characters, so we're not playing it in everything. But it is technically a staple in those characters, so I would kind of say you kind of have to say, well, it's if I the next list is from Tim Keefe. We're gonna see a staple symbol and a staple character and theme tier. So which actually I think if I was to remake it, I'd probably use Tim's list, Tim's brackets, because it makes more sense that way. And then Binder Fun Times, we're all gonna say lull to the Thermal Blast into Beast Titan. Those cards aren't Beast Titan may be good in Spotlight just because there's no on hit things that just murder you, like Mina or Amajiki or stuff like that or whatever. So yeah. Next is Tim Keefe, Satonis. This is their list. It's a long one, so I gotta find it and scroll through it. So give me a second. I'm finding it. There it is. So he has a few different tiers. Symbol wide staple. He has none, but symbol in some characters and archetypes. Midst of Despair, true, and Wall Maria's Might, also true. Very solid and playable, pressing the advantage and well-orchestrated attack. Yes, we want to play 1.3 million volts and a card that can draw us 3 cards. And that's basically a base 10 damage move, which is awesome. Role player and sideboard, coordinated strike. It's like a Blast Rush Turbo. Fortitude, Hive Speed Dive, Intense Heat Blast are all high, like he said, role players. They will either like help you defend, which is a good sideboard piece for fortitude, and coordinated high-speed dive and intense heat blast all further your game plan along when you're doing those types of things it likes. Coaster tier, wow, short work, really? Wow. All right, I don't know. I think I must value the get to hand as a first form. Maybe because it's a first form and you don't get to pick when you get to do it. Um, Colossus Steam Barrier, Thermal Blast, Short Work, Stomp, and Whirling Slash. Whirling Slash is definitely not that great because it's a 7 diff move. Sure, too bad. Female Titan, rip. So next is Pippa. Uh, Thank you, Pippa, for coming and giving me your list. I appreciate it. She said, quick shoot and quick initial impression. Overall, they're fine. Could have a place. She's pretty high on the 2 checks, giving their ability to end turns easily, and the wombo combo potential because she loves wombo combo 2 checks. Yep, I'm holding up well, and and I'm having a good day. I hope you are too. Great. She has 3 tiers. Great, solid, lacking situational. Well orchestrated attack. Let's see here. Well orchestrated attack. Midst of despair. Pressing the advantage. No surprise there. Solid. Ooh, she likes Beast Titan a lot. High speed dive. Which is saying a lot because everyone has him in their bottom tier so far, and David didn't even include him on the SR ranking. So wow. But Pippa is a combo gamer, so she likes to do the cool things a lot and do it well, so I could see that she likes the Beast Titan. High Speed Dive, Whirling Slash, Coordinated, Short Work, Heat Stomp, Heat Blast, Stomp with a Female Titan, and Mario's Might. Not a fan of Situational and lacking Fortitude, that's no surprise, and Steam Barrier and Thermal Blast. Yeah, that's not a surprise there. Very surprised on this one. But again, she's a combo gamer. While Mario's Might, solid. Again, only in wall counter characters. Stomp needs some setup. Stomp of the Female Titan needs some setup, but I can see her liking that. It's kind of like the Detroit Smash almost of the set, which Pippa made famous with Smash Might. So yeah, not a surprise. No. Next is, let's see, David, Tim. I think that's it, actually. That's it for the community ones. Let's check the email real quick and see if anybody... Oh, no, I got one more. Sorry. I got Justin Burgess, Zodiac Gamers, a fellow teammate on Team Final Round. I just got to pull up the window. Ba-bow. Oh, it's huge. He sent a dissertation. So he gave out some really good reasons of things. So we're gonna scroll through this. So give me a minute to set my window up real quick because I did not extend it far enough. Boom. Okay, there we go. OBS is our friend. Colossus Steam Barrier, Binder Tier, not a surprise there. Well, I want to be supportive of Fire getting another block trick between the Throw Hate and Fire. Getting Throw Hate on Fire this set and it being a 6 diff 0 speed move that basically does nothing. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Thermal Blast, Sideboard Tier. Want to say this card was a meme for a while. However, I've been convinced that this card has a value as a 1 or a lot of 2 of index and is a must answer card. This is the 13 diff, I believe. It's crazy, yeah. It's a must-answer card. I think it has value in building enough decks that might be looking at... Oh, okay, so like if you're building your deck to work around it as like a big giant bomb at the end of the game, yeah, I can see that. Coordinated Strike, Binder Tier. I hyped this card up at first sight. However, on re-examination, I think this card is way more mid than I first thought. I believe it is a mid attack too, by the way. Namely due to it just being a big frickin' explosion only. Swap the momentum cost for keyword gating. Yeah, it's a big frickin' explosion. Blast Rush Turbo type card. It's just a big bomb, and sometimes it just will fail because it's a 1 damage move. Coordinate, let's see, Scene has BFE. Okay, also, Scene has BFE, has had very limited success. You can see the same. So it's going to be the same for the most part, yeah. So Fortitude of the Armor Titan, Staple Tier. Finally a card I imagine will see a lot of play. This card This card being throw hate, keyword hate, and doing kind of the same increasing progressive as Runaway does with less ways to interact with it without the life cost makes this card really good. Only advantage Runaway has is that you still don't have to block. So yeah, true. It having the card in your card pool adds +1, so you have to block, but at least you don't die to Incredible Display with it. That's a plus. Moving on, High Speed Dive Sword Sideboard Tier. Conceptually a really cool attack, however, it not working in most characters with multiple copies of itself, and it being a 6 diff means it's taking a very valuable attack line in real estate. There are decks I think will find it worth, but certainly enough to make a staple, so yeah. Intense Heat Blast, Sideboard Tier 2. Sideboard Tier. 2 checks have to be crazy justify playing. This one certainly is in the right deck. A deck like Bionic Menace, true, and Woman, very true, could do a lot with this card. However, I think it's too limited enough to make it worth playing in the majority of decks. Midst of Despair, Sideboard Tier, a 2 high 6 vanilla in most decks that has a chance to eliminate progressive on one move is okay on a 4 diff. However, in a character like Ymir, it will be really good as a 5 high 6 on a 4 diff. So yeah, again, it's going to be in that weird situational, like keyword locked, character locked type deck. Pressing the Advantage, Staple Tier. 1.3 was a crazy card. This is 1.3 with EX and Selective Commit is crazy. It's a 2 check, which can arguably bump it down to Sideboard Tier, but I'm willing enough to see this card cook to rank it higher for now. Yeah, I think the card's going to cook really well, Justin. Short Work. Man, no one likes Short Work. This is sad. Am I the only one who likes Short Work? I'm sad. Short Work Binder Tier. If it was a form instead of a first form, very true, I'd love this card way more. I think it's too low on damage to make it worth playing most of the time, unless your character punts a ton of damage. If your board is empty, it's a million. Even if your board's empty, it's a million speed for 5, which isn't fantastic. It absolutely should not be a 2 check. Okay, fair. I like your assessment there. Stomp of the Female Titan, Binder Tier. I almost put this card in Sideboard Tier because its response, in theory, is crazy. Yes, in theory, it's crazy. But I cannot think of a deck with 3 big enough stat pumps to make the fact that this card is originally a 3 mid-3 on a 7 diff worth running. Very true. Very true. Walmaria's Might, Sideboard Tier. The fact that it requires wall counters to be useful makes it situational by definition. However, uncapped draw is really good and could plus you to the moon in the right deck. Yep. Erwin, Krista, Hannes, and there's probably going to be some wall characters in set 2. So this card may not be great now. So that's also the thing too, right? Like some of these may not be great now, but like with set 2, they may just like jump. Like it's crazy. Like it could just totally change. Well orchestrated attack, Sideboard Tier. If this was a 3, because it's a 2 check, yeah. If this was a 3 check, it would be a Staple Tier easy. In most situations, it is a 5 high plus 4 hand size damage move. Meaning in a 7-hander, it's a 5 high 11. But that is sometimes 5 high 13 that drew 3. However, generally I want my 2 checks to do more. Justin. Wait, here. Yep, yeah. Would I generally want my 2 checks to do? Yes, for sure. Like, this card's nuts. Like, I get it. The 2 check's scary, but I honestly think this card will probably see a tons of play. And then, to do more than just big damage, sorry, there was more. While the advantage is nice, it's hard to say it makes it above Sideboard Tier. That's fair. Sorry, I had to keep scrolling down. Page break. He wrote me a dissertation. It was fantastic. He is a teacher, so it is fantastic. 13, Whirling Slash, Staple Tier. This is odd, actually, because I don't agree with this, but he plays more air, and he's played more with these cards than I have on TTS, so maybe he's seen some inside like tricks and stuff. This attack does a lot. 4 diff, commit 1 for a 4 high 5 that draws a card and gives my next attack 1 speed. Really solid. I agree with that. 4 diff, commit 2 for 5 high 5 that draws 1 and gives my next +2 speed. A situational worth doing. Commit 3 for a 6 high 5 that draws 1 gives 3 speed and gives me -3 difficulty on paying on the next paying back the cost to play is really, really good. Okay, yeah, I can see that. This makes home for a ton of air decks that include following sky decks. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, when you see it that way, that makes a lot more sense. I was just going on like I wasn't even breaking it down like that. Like he broke it down. Um, but yeah, like that's a really good point. Like it sure it's like a 7 diff, but it pays you back in the 3 that you commit because the next one basically ignores progressive as your fourth attack, which is kind of crazy. So his overall rankings: staple tier, fortitude, whirling slash, pressing the advantage. Sideboard tier, height speed dive, well orchestrated attack, intense heat blast, wall Mario's might, midst of despair, and thermal blast. Binder tier, coordinated strike, stomp of the female titan, short work, and steam barrier. So he didn't even include beast titan, so it must not even make the tier list. Oh my gosh, he pulled the David Toombs. You guys are crazy. But yeah, so like it's a character. So more often than not, it's not going to be a staple. It's not going to be a sideboard. It's somewhere in the middle. But I put him in the binder tier because I have no interest in playing him. So sorry for the really long video. This is like almost a half an hour to 40 minutes long. So I have to get this all edited and put this out for tomorrow so people have something to watch.